Hey bread gang, I hope everyone's doing good and keeping safe and had a great weekend. In today's video, I want to chat to you guys about sundial growers. So in particular, I want to focus on the price action, so looking at where the price currently is, where I believe it's going to go to, and also there's a piece of news that came out fairly recently about sundial growers that even though it doesn't show it right now in terms of price action, but I believe it's very good for the company going long term. So I'm going to share all of this in today's video. But before I get into today's video, make sure you guys subscribe and of course hit that notification bell so you don't miss any further uploads. And while you're at it, check out some of my other videos. There might be stocks that you're currently invested in or thinking about investing in, or you may just learn a thing or two about price action. With that being said, let's get this bread. So we'll start off with having a look at the short interest data for sundial growers. And right now the short interest, the float is sitting at 18.2%, and that equates to 374 million shares that are on loan to short sellers. So the interesting thing about this is that there's a lot of short sellers that short on this stock. So they believe that the price is going to fall and they want to capitalize on the decline of the share price. But the minute the price actually starts rising, then they're potentially going to get trapped. A lot of them are potentially going to get trapped, especially those who got in towards the low before the price starts rising. So because they get trapped, they have to basically buy back to cover their shorts. Through the process of buying back to cover the shorts, effectively just creates a lot of demand within the price, and this ultimately rises the price, which in turn basically traps or potentially traps a lot more short sellers. So it's like a snowball effect. So the minute some start buying back to cover, creating demand, the price starts rising, more short sellers get trapped, more short sellers have to buy back to cover their position, and you catch my drift. You know where I'm getting with this. The price ultimately just continue rising, effectively leading to a short squeeze. If I have a look at the chart, sundial grows, in particular looking at the daily chart, and from Friday's session there was a gap high. So basically the price gaps from 64 cents all the way up to 73 cents, and the bears managed to close that session bearish, basically closing the price from 73 cents all the way down to 68 cents. So that was a pretty decent session, even though it was a bearish candle and bearish close. It was a fairly decent session for the bulls because the bulls managed to gap the price up in the opening, and the bulls managed to keep the price above that 10 moving average. And why this is significant is that the 10 moving average serves as actually good momentum indicator. So when the price is above the 10 moving average, technically speaking, that the bullish momentum is potentially going to be strong heading up. So the fact that the price actually closed above the 10 moving average, we'll wait to see if the price stays above that moving average. And then if it does for maybe today or tomorrow's session, both sessions, if it stays above that 10 moving average, then the momentum is going to be strong. This could potentially be the start to a very good rally heading up. So when the price opened at that 73 cents on Friday, it was actually testing a resistance at 74 cents. And it's actually a resistance zone. So the resistance zone between 74 cents and 69 cents. So this resistance zone was previously a support zone. And as you can see, the bears brought the price down, basically keeping the price below that 10 moving average all the way down to test the support zone. This support zone was tested, and you can see there's a lot of bullish action within that zone. So the fact that the bears brought the price down below that support zone, this was now seen as technically a resistance zone, and seeing as the bulls have actually brought the price back within it. So there's a lot of fighting within this zone, and seeing as there's a high short interest, a lot of bears don't want this price rising up because, again, short sellers, the bears will get trapped, and they'll start buying to cover. So a lot of bears that basically got in this market on the 4th of October, perhaps they got in towards the low around 63 cents. They would be trapped already at the moment. So they'll be panicking. They'll be maybe adding on to their shorts, or some even buying back to cover their position. But a lot of them might be adding to their shorts because they really want this price to come down towards 63 cents so they can at least break even or get out at a small loss. So what's also interesting about the price action, especially around this zone, right now it's either a resistance zone or a support zone. So the bears and the bulls haven't really made their mind up. But what's interesting about the price action between the 13th of May and the 4th of October is there's some RSI divergence. So as you can see, there's RSI divergence. The price made a new low. So it's very, very subtle, the RSI divergence. So the price made a new low, and also the RSI made a new high. So the RSI value on the 13th of May was sitting at 33, whereas the RSI value on the 4th of October is sitting at 34, so roughly 35. With RSI divergence, the fact that if the price makes a new low but the RSI doesn't, it means that the momentum towards the bearish side is actually coming to an end or decreasing, so there's likely going to be a lot of bullish activity following that, meaning that you're likely going to see a lot of green candles following that. And you can see pretty much when the price made the new low and the RSI didn't, you can see pretty much the price actually recovered and has gapped up. So it gapped up on the 8th of October. So if we move on from the daily chart, just to have a look at where the price is potentially going to go for the next couple of weeks, leading into months and potentially the end of the year. So the price has been below the 10 moving average for the past couple of weeks, past couple of months even. And more recently, last week, the price headed up to test that 10 moving average. So the fact that the price got up to the 74-cent resistance, this resistance on the daily chart is actually the moving average's resistance on the weekly chart. So you can see there's a lot of bearish rejection, which brought the price back down from 74 cents all the way down to where it closed around 68 cents. And you can see that, look, that was that gap up on the daily and then subsequent bearish close on the daily as well. But on the weekly, the price is actually within a support zone. So the support zone between 69 cents and 64 cents. So the fact that this price is within this support zone, and this week I believe the price might head up and actually break this 10 moving average. And then if it does this, and the fact that the price is actually above the 10 moving average on the daily, so if the price is above the 10 moving average on the daily and then breaks it on the weekly, then I believe we're going to start seeing some really good green candles heading up towards this point, heading up to the resistance of 91 cents. So that'll be a really good move. That'll be a move of like 30 cents within the next couple of weeks, which is really good because the minute this price actually breaks above the 91-cent resistance, then we're likely to start heading up to the previous resistance around $1.15. And then if that's broken, then we're likely going to head all the way up to $2. So moving on from the technical analysis, if I have a look at some fundamentals behind Sundial Growers, and one key piece of news that I believe is potentially very good for this company, in fact it is very good for this company, and potentially long term could see the price really rise up and a lot of investors getting behind it. Sundial Growers is pleased to announce today that it has entered into an arrangement agreement with Alcana Inc., pursuant to which Sundial will acquire all of the issued and outstanding common shares of Alcana by the way of a statutory plan of arrangement for a total consideration of approximately $346 million. So this plan for Sundial Growers to acquire Alcana, this is really good because this shows potential strength within Sundial Growers as a company, because they've got the funds, they've got the means, they've got the resources, they've got the plans and strategy to basically acquire a company. And by acquiring a company, the company making the acquisition actually has to think about, how is this company going to fit within our plan, our strategy? You know, how are we going to drive this company forward? Not only are we focusing on our parent company, but we're also focusing on our child company. How are we going to drive this company towards success, etc., and make it fit within our plans, etc. So that takes a lot of work for a company to make that move and make that decision. And the fact that Sundial Growers has made that decision, and also this is going to amount to roughly around $346 million, the acquisition and the transaction. So this is actually really good news. Traditionally, when companies make acquisitions, the share price usually does fall. It may gap up and then it falls ultimately. And the reason for this is investors and the market is very sensitive towards this kind of news. You know, investors are looking for any little thing that would tell them basically this is a good news or this is bad, and they might feel apprehensive about the news. They might think, you know what, they're spending a lot of money, they're taking on this extra company, this acquisition, which might turn out to be a liability, etc. So a lot of doubts are created within that. So a lot of investors may potentially sell their shares or sell some of their shares, or just get out thinking, or maybe they see something or they believe something about the company that's been acquired that they don't like. Either case, a lot of bears jump on this, a lot of short sellers, short interest basically increases, and they start trying to bring this price down. Traditionally, this usually does happen whenever an acquisition happens. The price of the parent company actually drops, whereas the price of the company that's being acquired, so the child company, is actually increasing. But sticking to the parent company being Sundial Growers, the thing about it is that a lot of bears will see or potentially believe that, you know what, the price is going to start falling, so they start getting into it, you know. And the next couple of sessions is very key to seeing what happens, whether the price stays above the 10 moving average or goes below the 10 period moving average. But guys, just remember, I'm not a financial advisor. These are just my thoughts and opinions on what I believe the price is going to do based on the data that I'm seeing. So make sure you guys do your background DD, do your own research. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys subscribe and of course hit that notification bell so you don't miss any further uploads. And guys, comment below, let me know your thoughts on Sundial Growers. Are you thinking about getting involved in it? And also let me know your thoughts on this acquisition. Comment below, give this video a thumbs up so I know this is the kind of content you guys like to see, and I'll be coming out here with regular updates of Sundial Growers. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next video.